In the not-too-distant future, strange craft will zoom across our skies. These are not UFOs. They're not alien craft from another planet. These are machines developed and built by human engineers and designers. Today's science fiction will become tomorrow's reality. These are the aircraft of the future. Right now, unmanned aerial vehicles are one of the biggest areas of research and development in the industry. This 6-foot flying saucer, known as Cypher, is an intelligent surveillance aircraft developed for the battlefield of the future. Powered by counter-rotating blades, it can hover or fly up to 60 miles per hour. Onboard cameras transmit live video pictures back to base. Cypher can identify and track hostile targets, from 100 tanks to a single foot soldier. It can take off, spy, and land without any control from a human pilot. Cypher's most deadly asset is its ability to float through the urban battlefield. It can peek around corners or spy through windows, searching out snipers or terrorists with highly tuned sensors. One day, this machine's descendants may patrol our neighborhoods as robotic policemen. In the future, these may become the ultimate urban warriors.
One of the major motivations for using unpiloted surveillance vehicles is that we don't have to risk a pilot to get into very high-risk situations.
The initial tests were so successful that construction quickly began on a full-size Taryelka. Looking like a craft from another planet, it could carry up to a dozen passengers and become the new executive jet of the future. The engines are housed inside the main body. The small wings provide no lift at all. They help stabilize and steer the machine. But shortage of money from the Russian government has already caused work to stop on the Taryelka. A waterborne version was also tested. It was designed to travel just above the surface of the water, using a cushion of air to provide lift for very little thrust. This is called ground effect, something Russian designers had used in their most unusual aircraft. White Sands Missile Base, New Mexico. Here, tests are taking place on what might be the single biggest revolution in propulsion ever. Visionary designer Professor Lake Mirabeau is developing a saucer-shaped aircraft that flies on a beam of laser light. A full-sized vehicle of this design might one day carry people around the world or into space. Its power supply and engine remain on the ground.
Lightcraft is a completely new flight transportation concept. You have to imagine highways of light that vehicles would ride upon. You don't need turbines, compressors, combustors. You don't need that technology on these vehicles. The work is done for you by the light.
This light is a remnant of Cold War weapons technology. Housed in this building is the control center of a powerful laser gun that shoots the small craft into the sky.
Okay, copy. The Plivets laser is go for a graphite run. Stand by.
Before each flight, the laser is tested for intensity on a solid block of
5,
graphite.
4, 3, 2, 1, firing.
This highly polished cone focuses the laser beam, vaporizing the air around it. This is then mounted beneath a nose cone. The craft is simple. It has no moving parts, no engine. Focusing the laser beam at the bottom of the craft creates a series of explosions that push the craft skyward. But when Professor Mirabeau first proposed this amazing new concept, no one believed it was possible.
There really wasn't anybody in the academic institution that I was going to that was willing to sponsor this kind of research. So I had to get into this from the back door by actually participating in the Star Wars business.
In 1997, NASA financed the idea. Early tests were held indoors, but after just a few months, it was flying higher than the roof of the lab and had to be moved outdoors. Horizontal wire tests were used to see how far the laser could propel it. Then it was time for the Laser Light craft's first free flight. Professor Mirabeau makes it spin at up to 6,000 revolutions per minute with compressed air to keep the lightweight model balanced during its flight. At this speed, like a spinning top, it stays perfectly centered in the beam until it runs out of power and falls back to Earth. The Laser Light craft is now flying higher and further each day.
10 seconds.
The Plivets laser is arming.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
As the model lifts off, the square-shaped laser beam is focused to maintain its power and effectiveness. But the 10,000-watt laser beam could destroy the laser craft if it fails.
The next step is that we have to build a 100-kilowatt laser. And with that laser, we'll be able to fly vertically to the edge of space, say 30 kilometers straight up.
Professor Mirabeau is already conducting indoor tests on this much larger design. In a few years, this laser craft could deliver a small satellite into orbit. And in 50 years' time, the Laser Light craft's descendants might even be as common as the family car.
You'll walk out your door, touch your magnetic levitation belt, and float up, to the vehicle. It'll fly around, pick up a couple of your friends, motor over to a microwave laser boost station. In 10 seconds, you're out the top of the atmosphere, leaving at escape velocity for the moon. At nighttime, all you'll see is this extremely bright flash of light leaving the planet. And people say, well, there goes Frank.
In the future, the only limit will be the designer's imagination.
I think history shows that there has never been limits that last very long. And right now, there are even some people that say that the speed of light is not a limit, which we believe it is today. It probably isn't.
The technologies that will make these amazing vehicles possible are already available.